Not just delivering AI, not just jumping on the hype, on the latest hype, but providing something that our customers can trust.
There's models everywhere, there's algorithms everywhere, people are competing on kind of outcomes, but actually operationalizing those outcomes is the real challenge.
But then you have to integrate within other best-of-breed systems, whereas we really want to traverse the entire life cycle.
And once the models are ready, they can deploy the models into the bigger VIA ecosystem. And then you get from, development to deployment, and then you get to decisioning.
These were a few highlights of the great conversations I had at SAS Explore 2023 held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Man, it was a phenomenal event. They have such insane people working for them. They're so smart. SAS is doing some awesome things, and I'm really excited to share that with you today. And a quick tangent, man, it's actually hilarious of that conference being held in Vegas with so many slot machines, because they're all analytics folk, including myself. Pretty much nobody did any gambling. I've never been to Vegas before, so I put in $22. I knew I was going to lose. I did lose it and called it a day. So yeah, don't use the slot machines. But I am extremely grateful to have taken a very tiny part in such a big, phenomenal event. Even Sal Khan from Khan Academy was there, and I got to shake his hand. I'll show you a photo. Really cool. That was a dream come true for me, and SAS just knows what they're doing. You might think of them as an analytics company for businesses. Yes, of course, that is what they are. However, you may be surprised at just how state-of-the-art they are in providing the most leading machine learning and data science tools. And I'm actually going to start you off with that, with the amazing Marinela Profi, who is going to talk to you about generative AI in SAS. So I'll see you there.
The way that we are integrating generative AI, it's a little bit broader than the way the market is talking about generative AI. Let me say it. What I'm hearing is generative AI equal ChatGPT, generative AI equal large language models. Generative AI is way more than that. We're considering generative AI 3 different categories. The first one is obviously large language models. So how can we use large language models to integrate with existing technology or new technology to create some sort of value? And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Synthetic data generation. Models like GANs, data that mimic the distribution and the characteristics of real-world data. And this is being really critically transformative for industries like, for example, healthcare and clinical trial. Organizations don't have a lot of data, something that we consider as generative in nature. Technology that has a huge power in some industries is digital twins. Having a digital version of something allows you to create simulation scenarios or test analysis in a digital space without having to actually interact, modify the object or the human. Think of healthcare, right? We wear wearable devices, a watch, right, that collects all your data about your clinical data. A digital twin would collect all that data and analyze it and predict whether it is diseases, whether it is diagnosis, whether it is treatment, and do simulation analysis to understand what is the best way moving forward. It could be tabular data, it could be numbers if you're talking about patients' data. It could be images if you're trying to build the digital twin of a manufacturing piece and trying to understand defects or trying to understand how that object could move into space. It could be a vehicle, right? You can use digital twin, for example, to test a self-driving car. Instead of self-driving it in the street, you can train the car to learn how to drive in the digital space and then transfer that knowledge in an actual car that would drive in the street. The way that we are differentiating from the rest of the market, from what I'm seeing today, is simply by taking this broader approach to generative AI. I think that it's a true differentiator in seeing generative AI not as just large language models. And what I believe a next step that it's the way that SAS is differentiating is not just building the technology, but identifying industry use cases, working with our customers to build specific solutions for each industry. Because, and that's me saying, you can quote me for that, I don't think people buy technology, I think people buy solutions to problems. I believe that it's going to be the trend and what we are going to see with generative AI as well. The approach that SAS is taking is identifying hugely transformative industry use cases, working with our customers to deliver those for those specific industries. We are partnering from a technology perspective, partners like Microsoft, for example, and they have an incredible technology. SAS is differentiating because we provide that industry technology. SAS has been around for 50 years. We have customers around highly regulated industries, from banking to government up all the way to small businesses. And so that industry knowledge is what really is differentiating to me for us and how we approach the generative AI.
Yeah, she's pretty smart, eh? Next up, we have Nik Markovic, another genius who's going to tell us about a new product at SAS called App Factory.
It's not enough anymore to just be able to pull together a Jupyter notebook of results. You actually need to be able to operationalize that so you can go into an organization and build applications. So App Factory is a mechanism by which you can do exactly that. The idea of App Factory is that it's trying to, and I think quite successfully, making the onerous parts of application development around AI and ML models and around analytics in general easy and standardized. So this idea where if you have like a database, you're always going to have a database schema, you're going to have like a data model, you're going to want a REST API on top of that, so we just build that for you. You're going to want to write some JavaScript and some fetch code and some, TypeScript models. We just write that for you from those definitions. And we try to make the onerous, repetitive parts of application development around data science painless. And that's what App Factory is. It's a factory for applications where, once you've done the data science bit, the rest of it is kind of just a business development process. At the moment, we are targeting a combined workflow of an experienced UX developer, JavaScript, TypeScript developer, React guy most of the time, and a data scientist. And what we're trying to do is facilitate collaboration between them. So we say, hey, you're a data scientist, you're now a back-end dev. You're going to write some models, you're going to deploy them as containers, put an API on top of them, you're going to have functions as a service. Those functions can automatically connect with like all the secrets and stuff that we manage in the platform to your backend database, and you can build the entire backend in pretty much no time at all because you're a data guy and you've done the stuff. However, we then want to enable the React developer to just integrate with that, teaming up with a JavaScript dev, a UX dev, and kind of setting up a project, knowing what you want to do, and then one of you would do the back-end development piece and the other would do the front end. But where we're going with App Factory, we're calling it low code, yes code. I don't know whether it's going to catch on, maybe it will. Once you hit that 80% mark with most of these low code, no code, drag and drop UI builder type platforms, if you're really trying to go into production with something big that you want to be able to maintain, and I don't think you need convincing here, you end up doing a full-on rewrite with real code anyway. What we're trying to say is we're basically going to help you code gen as much of that code up front so that your project and your product is maintainable and free of technical debt from the get-go, so that if you do want to push it that extra mile and you do get like 100,000, a million users, it's going to be maintainable, and you're not going to be in this situation where you're like, oh, I've got to do a full rewrite now, but everyone's using it. How do I, you're not going to panic.
So basically, in the near future, if you or your company is considering what infrastructure to use to build a data-driven full-on application, you may want to consider SAS's upcoming App Factory. Next up, I'll show you my conversation with Shadi Shahin, another very smart individual that's going to give us a broad overview of the various technical infrastructure and challenges that happen at SAS.
SAS Via is about from data ingestion to a decision, so an actual application deployed, built on AI models. So the way we're integrating it, machine learning is one of the many techniques that are used within the platform as you're building models, whether that's automated or you're coding them. And AI, it's part of the tools within the toolbox. And so that's integrated, and then our solutions are the thing that sit on top of that. Industry-specific solutions that answer business problems that are powered by the platform that build these AI or machine learning models. We have been around, so we've seen a lot of the trends that come and go, and a lot of the hype cycles that promise to solve world hunger and then kind of peter out, whether that's Hadoop or what we're seeing with generative AI and ChatGPT today. I think the biggest differentiator, other than having been there and seen that, is the breadth of the portfolio. So the ability to do data manipulation, modeling, model management, decisioning, and the ability to put our domain expertise. So we have doctors on staff, we have actuaries on staff that come from those domains that can help us build solutions that people actually want to buy and use because it fits within their ecosystem. The fact that we are also completely cloud agnostic. You do not have to go for a vendor lock-in of being completely dedicated to a public cloud provider. Our portability is a differentiator. Our customers demanded us to get to the cloud, but a lot of them had gotten to the cloud a little bit early. So doing it the right way and building a platform that is not just tolerant of the cloud, but really takes advantage of the virtues of the cloud is one of the things we push. And we continue to evolve that. It's completely containerized, orchestrated by Kubernetes and all the things you would expect. I think getting to a low downtime, monthly update cycle where we're releasing features constantly into the market. The fact that we take security as the #1 priority for our platform, I think it's highly topical nowadays. The ability to really react in our CI/CD world of saying, we recognize, we address, we deliver the security patches. Historically, we've really been about SAS the language that pivot of going and saying, you know what, it's not a competition, it's a collaboration, has been a big advancement. And now, as you've seen, hopefully, with the announcement we're making with our new tech stack of really having native Pythonic open source experiences within the platform and trusting the same result set regardless of the way you engage with the platform. The programming language is really just a user preference now. It's not so much the barrier to entry. Being ethical through data is all our responsibilities. We also happen to sit on the governance board with the White House to really help establish some of the governance models. And lastly, it's building it into our technology. We can't force people to be ethical. Our software doesn't allow for that. One of the things we do is I sit on the committee where we evaluate any deal of software we could sell that could potentially be viewed as unethical, meaning we're enabling some unethical practice within the customer, and we have a power to veto that, saying, no, we are not going to pursue that business. So we're walking away from money. The second way is, even though we can't force our customers to be ethical, we can give them the tools to really understand the decisions they're making, the models they're building through transparency, so they understand where their biases are, and then give them the tools to mitigate those. So as much as we hold ourselves to a high ethical standard, we do not engage in unethical practices for our customers. And then we want to educate and enable our customers to see the way they're behaving so they can rectify that if there's something biased that's happening within their ecosystem.
I love that guy. You can honestly just feel his confidence. Like, he's so certain that they know what they're doing. And I mean, as he said, like, they've been around for so long. They've seen all the trends. They clearly know what they're doing. Finally, up next, we have two amazing individuals, Katy Salamati and Joe Madden, talking about a new product at SAS called SAS Workbench.
We are excited about SAS Workbench. So SAS Workbench is software as a service. Therefore, there's no installation required. You can log into the cloud directly. SAS via Workbench is essentially a lightweight, fast deployment environment where users that have different coding skill set and different preferences can code and work together. You can do SAS codes, you can do R or Python, and so it's essentially for everyone to use, data scientists and developers.
In the name, right, we've included VIA in the name intentionally because we know that VIA represents modern SAS, and we are demonstrating that Workbench is all about modern, but we're bringing along all of the legacy with us. We're making it as easy as possible for people who have SAS 9 code, bring it forward, and be that on-ramp into the VIA ecosystem. So we're really excited about it. If you don't have full VIA deployment, no worries, right? You can run and you still get the benefits of the secure containerized environment that runs fast, and you've got it. It's all there, Python, SAS, you're set up. Models are only useful if they're in production, right? We're making that barrier of entry to get your models, trying to lower it so you can easily get to Model Manager. That's our modern model ops repository. Other options exist too, and we want to make sure that those are possible, but like Model Manager is the first option, and then from there, sky's the limit. Like Azure Model Registry is something that we know our customers use today. Things like that, we want to make sure that that's easy to do once you're using Workbench.
With VIA Workbench, your data scientists, your developers, they can quickly develop models, and once the models are ready, they can deploy the models into the bigger VIA ecosystem. And then you get from development to deployment, and then you get to decisioning. So it's part of what we want to call it AI and analytics lifecycle, where we cover everything from data management all the way to decisioning. And VIA Workbench is part of that model development piece of it. Any kind of models, statistical models, machine learning models, forecasting models. So there's no limit essentially to the models that we can build.
When we look at benchmark comparisons, can we make things a little bit more closer, apples to apples, of when we run in SAS versus Python or if we run SAS analytics anywhere? I want to have a little bit more clarity on what that means. In the process of doing that, the engineers realized that, hey, there's maybe a better way to run our analytics. Maybe didn't realize what we were sitting on, and over the last year and a half, all the way up to Dr. Goodnight, realizing that we have a very powerful technology and that we want to put it into a workbench that is secure, containerized, so we're not unleashing SAS too broadly, but just to the right secure level for our customers.
And we really wanted this Workbench to be a place where open source coders can also come in and utilize the power of SAS behind it. You're a Python developer, you can run your Python code in a native Python environment, or you can run it with the power of SAS behind it. So it's really powerful, and R and others, essentially.
Our testing standards at SAS, right, they're very intense, very rigorous. And what we have in our private preview environment today it's like if the iceberg analogy, right? We're looking at like the surface level, and like down below is all of our remaining analytics that that we've have in 45 years worth of history. Our intention is to make all of that available, but testing is an important part of that. We've built out these new testing framework and methodology to make our private preview happen, and now we're going to expand and scale that out so we can get more of that same trusted analytics you've got, and it's going to be hopefully headache-free once we come live. We're intending to bring all of that supervised machine learning out forward, first and foremost, forecasting, IoT, all of those really cool advanced power use cases that we're all planning to bring those in eventually.
We always take pride in saying that SAS, we invest 25% of our revenue in R&D. So R&D is a major focus area for us, and there's major investment going into R&D. And at SAS, everything is built by our R&D system.
Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the amazing stuff that SAS has been up to. They are really, truly killing it. And thank you so much to SAS for inviting me to the event and for sponsoring this video. I really, really do appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.